Hey, it's Carmen Andrea of CarmenAndreaHarris.com. So sometimes when we experience grief, we can get stuck in that place, in that time, in that moment when everything happened. For example, the biggest grief moment of my life was the death of my husband and the father of my children. A lot of the widows that I have met along the way have gotten stuck in that moment that they lost their husband. What I mean by stuck in that moment is that time has gone on, the years have passed. However, they are still stuck in that moment, stuck in the same emotions, stuck in the same mindset that they were when it first happened. This is common, but it's not the way that God intended it. Now, I'm not saying that God wanted you to go through that. There are situations that God allows, and there are situations that God ordains. Whether God ordained it or he allowed it to happen, the death of your husband, the death of the dream, the death of the career, the death of whatever it was that caused your grief and your deep loss, he doesn't intend for you to stay in that place. Yes, you need to grieve because we live in a very grief avoidant society where people just rather numb the pain, do things to get their mind off of it as opposed to sitting in the pain, because it can be a very painful process when you are actually embracing all of the emotions that come after someone or something that you love dies or goes away. However, it is a part of the process, and the only way to get to healing is to actually grieve. However, if you are refusing to allow yourself to grieve, if you are refusing to allow yourself to process what actually happened, if you are refusing to allow yourself to embrace all of the emotions, the roller coaster of emotions that come with processing grief, you won't get to that healing space, and time will go on and you will feel like, oh, time has gone on, I must be better. But in reality, you're still stuck in that place. You're still wrapped in the shame, the pity, the heaviness, the grief of what you went through. So I encourage you to do a reflection. Do you feel like you're in a place of healing? Do you feel like you have moved forward, not moved on, but moved forward from that devastating moment in your life that caused the deep grief? If the answer is no, and years have passed, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and this is not to put a timeline on your process, but if you are noticing that many years have passed and you're still stuck in that place, you're still bitter, you're still angry, you're still just have regrets about different things, it may be time to reach out for some help so that you can process those grief emotions in a healthy way. It doesn't matter, if the experience was 20 years ago. If you never process that grief, it doesn't go away, okay? Grief will show up in your body. Grief will show up in your relationships. Grief can be passed down throughout generations. So as opposed to avoiding it and running away from it, I encourage you to process your grief, to embrace all of your emotions so that you can get to a place of healing. And if you feel like you don't know how to do that, because there are many women who don't know how to grieve. They don't know what it means to do their grief work or to process their grief or to allow their grief emotions to come to the surface and flow and for them to talk about them. If you feel like you don't know how to do that, that is where I come in at. I have my own lived experience with grief, but I am also a certified grief counselor and an emotional wellness coach. So that is what I do. That's my specialty, and that's what I'm here for. So if you're watching this message and you feel like you are stuck, or like you haven't even processed your grief and you want to, because you want to get to a place of healing and eventually living again after loss, I want you to click the link in the description of this video, and I want you to schedule a clarity and support session so I can help you walk through those beginning steps of processing your grief and creating a pathway for healing, restoration, and joy.